Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I had to jump on here today and just give a video that I had promised that I would do, and that is to explain to you how I would behave in a social situation when I was intermittent fasting. This question came from one of my viewers, so if you're interested, stick around. So I am Joy, this is Well with Joy, and I welcome back to my channel. I appreciate everybody who stops by, who comments, who likes, who subscribes. So please stop and do that right now, because that helps to get my channel out and expand it to other people. But today I wanted to talk to you about what to do when you're in a social situation, when you find yourself in a social situation and you're intermittent fasting. What do you do? Well, first of all, if you know ahead of time that there's a social situation coming up and you're fasting, you can say, oh, I think I'll skip that situation because it'll be easier if I just don't go, and that way I don't have questions. And yes, in the beginning, you may think that, because especially when you start something new like intermittent fasting, you sometimes feel like people won't understand, or they may ask you a question that you have yet to find the answer to, because it's a process. It's not something you know everything about right at the beginning. You have to learn. You may decide, well, I don't want to go to a situation because I don't want to be put in a corner or questioned, and that's fine. You can make that decision. But I want to encourage you to really think about how you're going to proceed in the future, because social situations come up, even in your own family. I remember when I first started intermittent fasting, my children or my husband would wonder, why aren't you eating? What's going on? Is that good for you? You should be eating right now. And so it took a lot of adjusting, not just for me, but for them. But the more that I researched and the more that I learned and the more that I saw the effects that I was having in my own body, the health effects, that's when I started to become more confident in doing it in other situations. Because competence, the more comfortable we become, the more we know about something, the more confident we become. So it's a skill. You just have to learn how to be confident. And you do that by being competent, knowing more information, and going through the process a few times and getting some experience under your belt. So at the beginning, it may feel a little intimidating, but now I could go anywhere and be fasting. If somebody asks me, why aren't you eating? I can simply say, my eating window isn't open. I'm fasting right now. And that wouldn't bother me a bit. If you aren't up to, or if you're not in that position yet, what you can do is you can always, there's a couple little tricks that you can do. One of them is to, if you're in a situation and everybody's eating, or it's a group, it's a party or whatever, carry a cup of coffee with you. By carrying a cup of coffee and holding that and sipping from it, people are less likely to notice that you're not eating. It just looks like you're just drinking coffee at that point, or a glass of water, or a bottle of water, or whatever it is. Have something in your hand so you look busy, so you don't look like you're totally not engaged. That's one tip. The second tip is you can always get a plate, put some food on it, and just as you're talking or moving about the room or whatever, just move it around on your plate with your fork. People aren't going to pay that much attention to you. People aren't that focused on you and what you're eating. So just move it around on the plate. You know, don't waste too much, but get a little moving around on a plate, have a cup of coffee. Nobody, unless they're focused on you, they're not even going to notice the difference. And so that can help you get through some situations. If you feel a little intimidated or a little unsure of how you are going to respond to those prying questions. Why aren't you eating? What's wrong with you? You're starving yourself. There's something wrong. Whatever it may be, whatever comments somebody may have, you're going to learn slowly learn how to deal with it. I've dealt with situations like birthdays, getting together, and it was especially in the beginning when I first started to implement intermittent fasting, I knew that in the beginning, in those first months, that if I gave in to a party and said, well, it's a birthday, I'm going to eat, or it's this, I'm going to eat, I should have cake because it's their birthday. I knew in the beginning that I could not allow myself or give myself permission to have that cake in the beginning because I knew that that would make it easier to give myself permission to have that cake on next week's birthday or the week after's birthday or whatever it was. I knew I had to have a set amount of time that no, I was sticking to my schedule and I wasn't going to have that cake in my fasting window or whatever it was. Did it mean that I could never have cake again? No. It just meant for this period of time, I was totally sticking to it. And once you commit something and you write it down, you have it committed, it's more easier to stick by it and always know your why. Why are you doing it? I knew I had some fat I wanted to lose. I had some things, physical things I wanted to heal. And I knew how I felt when I was fasting, and I love that feeling. So I just kept up with it and stayed consistent. And what did that consistency bring me? It brought me fat loss. It brought me healing. It brought me so many benefits that I just thank God that I was able to stick to it. So with a little bit of prayer and a little bit of commitment and having those little tips like carrying something in your hand, moving something around on a plate, or getting confident enough just to tell somebody, I'm not eating right now. I'm not hungry. I had a big lunch. I'm still full. I'm not eating right now. Who can argue with that? Who can say, well, you're full, you should still eat? No, I'm full from lunch. I'm not eating right now, maybe later. Or I do want a piece of cake, just cut a piece, put it on a plate. I'll take it home and I'll eat it later or tomorrow, whatever it is. Being able to stand in confidence, knowing you're doing something very good for you and for your body can really help you to overcome that feeling of insecurity, that feeling of doubt, that feeling of being questioned. And some people will question and have their own opinions, and that's fine. They can have their own opinion. But the more you learn, the more you read books, the more you listen to podcasts or watch videos, the more confident you will become that this is the right lifestyle for you. Intermittent fasting has changed my life, and it's something that I'm not going to let anybody else deter me from or ask questions that'll make me change my mind. I know what I'm doing it for. So those are my tips for you to just become competent by learning about it, experiencing the power of it, giving yourself a time frame that you're for sure going to stick to it, and then just move on from there. And you will be successful with intermittent fasting. I will see you next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video if it has something that you think you'd want somebody would be benefited by. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.